Well, well, well. We didn't get any music tonight, producer.
Oh, we didn't get no music.
What is
I
that
was expecting the
about?
music.
What is that about? He just hit go on
This was like,
us.
and go.
Like,
Oh,
what? This is what we
okay.
doing? Okay.
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 There it is. There it is.
Well, thank you.
That
I
was good music
mean, can we get started off on the right foot?
on a good foot.
On the good
Good foot.
foot? I'm all about the good foot.
That's
All
right.
right, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Date Affirm the Real. I am Keya McClain, the poet, and that is
Shimeka Arnold, the DAR Therapist. Hello,
boom,
everybody, and
boom.
welcome.
The DAR Therapist is in the building, and y'all ain't ready. I don't think y'all ready for this. Maybe you are. So, for those that have been following us for quite some time, as you know, Date Affirm the Real is about, really putting the highlighter on the positive aspects of relationship with self, if you're in a relationship, and even if you're married. We like to take the brightest highlighter and put it on all the positive aspects. However, we all know that other things come up and they arise, and we would like to have conversations about it. But guess what we'll do? We'll still highlight the positive sides out of all of these conversations. So just know that, we share our opinions, we share our experiences, we share our thoughts,
Yes.
and you can eat the fish and throw the bones away. If it doesn't
Bones.
apply, let it go.
Let it
It
fly.
doesn't belong to you, and that's okay. We embrace and accept that.
Yes.
Okay? So we
Yes.
just wanted to start the message off by saying that. Secondly, we want to talk about what's been buzzing on social media lately, because it's been buzzing very loudly. It's been very, very loudly buzzing. And
Yes.
so we're going to have a conversation about it, right? We're just going to sit back, relax, and hopefully the next hour you will join in on this conversation with us. We're going to do this in 4 parts. This is part 1. And so, Shamika, if you will tell them what we're going to be discussing this evening.
We are discussing broken homes and how to put them together again.
Ha
Hey, Don.
ha. What
Yeah.
up, Don? Ha ha. We're talking
Yes.
about broken homes and how to do what?
Yes. Put them back together again. Like
Put them
Humpty
back
Dumpty.
together again. Put them back
Like Humpty
together
Dumpty.
again. Yeah. You know, when hurricanes and tornadoes and things like that come and it just stirs everything up and it blows the house away, one of the things that typically happens is sometimes the community comes back together to
Hmm.
rebuild the home, right?
Hmm.
And so sometimes when there is brokenness in our community, we have to come together to rebuild our community. And we have to
Yeah.
start by healing. We have to start with forgiveness.
Yes.
We have to start with not blaming and pointing the finger.
Taking
We
responsibility.
have to start with accountability, what
Hmm.
Shamika just said, taking responsibility for our own behavior. And so that's where we want to go with this conversation. So I don't have the notes this evening. So Shamika's going to be um, sharing what we have in our notes because we talked about it and she wrote it down.
Yes. Did you want? Well, cousin, did you want to start off and talk about the video? Let's
Yeah,
start.
let's start there.
Okay.
So we're going to show a clip from a video, and that's where we're going to kind of center our conversation
Hmm.
with part 1 this evening. And again, we're going to do this in 4 parts, and so we'll have 3 more parts after tonight. And the goal is to start having the healthy conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not for us to bicker back and forth and to point blame. But it really is about us having a productive, positive conversation.
Yeah.
You can roll the clip, babe.
Women. I don't really want to attack or, really speak on your clientele, but obviously with my research, you spoke about low functioning individuals, male and female. What's the percentage of males or females that you counsel that are low functioning? What's that percentage?
I love it. Collectively, or you want me to go male and female?
Break it down
Break it
from
down?
male and female.
Okay. I would say, interesting enough, I would say that there are 70% low functioning women, 40% low functioning men.
What? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with those low functioning men, did they ever say that a man of high function will never really know true love?
To hear this electric crackle of carbonation, described as crispy, not crisp, crispy, sounds just about perfect.
No, I don't even believe that, but no.
Okay. So, what identifies a woman to be high functioning?
A high functioning woman is a woman who wants you. She doesn't need you. And let me clear that up. When I say she doesn't need you, it doesn't mean she's independent. That means she is interdependent. I only not need you because my pain doesn't need your pain. My dysfunction doesn't need your dysfunction to feed it for us to be in this relationship, meaning I don't need a trauma bond with you, okay? She wants you because she wants the healed part of you, but has the capacity, because we're all human, we ain't perfect, to facilitate and deal with the unhealed part of you that's gonna show up in the relationship at some point. And hers is gonna show up too, mine is gonna show up too. And so that's why I always say, I want a hybrid. I want a hybrid for y'all out there who wanna know, meaning a man who's high functioning enough to meet my healthy high functioning, but low functioning enough to deal with me when my abandonment inflames, to deal with me when some of my dysfunctions that I'm still working on inflame. Because if he's too high functioning, guess what? He doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with the low functioning part, which then means he can only connect with folks who are not being fully authentic within themselves. Meaning you may have a loving relationship, but you won't have a real intimate, deep, vulnerable relationship. I'm a woman who seeks connection and vulnerability. I'm not into casualties or casual sex,
babe.
just TMI.
Yeah.
All right. So we wanted to share that clip because she used a term. And the term that she used was low functioning. And if you feel a little when you hear that word, right? If we were to say you're low functioning, how does that make you feel, right? Like, start to examine how you're feeling about that, because if you feel a little
Right.
you may identify with low functioning, right? Now, here's the thing. I think a lot of us internalize things so much that that's what's keeping out the healthy, positive, inspiring, uplifting conversations, because we shut down just at the mere sound of words that trigger us.
Yep.
So when we hear these words, we automatically feel and believe that we're being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that feels attacked goes into what mode?
Shut down or back up or...
You shut down or you go into defensive mode.
Yep.
Right? As a kid who grew up fighting, I was always on the ready, right? As a kid who grew up fighting, who always was on the ready, always saw things as combative. Not only physically, but emotionally and mentally. That's how I heard. That's how my ears heard what people would say to me. When you walked up on me, that's how I saw you, right? This is what we're talking about. I wanted to tell us a very brief story about just my interactions and my story, because it may help someone to understand how to identify, because we're going to delve deeper into that. Shimeka's going to talk more about that on that side. But I want to share with you, when people are saying or believing there's nothing wrong with them, I'm going to tell you how to identify something is wrong with you and that it's okay, because all of us still have something wrong with us, right? Like, we're going to constantly be working through stuff. We will never be at the arrived space of life. But what we can do is learn some healing mechanisms that will help us to move through things in a more healed, positive manner. Because what we've been doing so far is not working. It hasn't worked, right? So if something continues to not work, we have a responsibility to ourselves, first and foremost, to honor ourselves and identify what's happening within ourselves. So one of the things that started to happen for me was I always knew something was off. I always felt like something wasn't quite right. Like, why am I, a lot of times, why am I unhappy? Why am I doing certain toxic things? Shimeka went out on us for a minute. I'm sure she'll be back. But why am I behaving and conducting myself in certain ways? Although you may not speak those things out loud, you feel it. You know it. You know that something's off. You know that you're not living to your full potential, and you don't feel like you're thriving in life. You don't feel like all of your relationships are healthy and happy. Now, again, these are things that you may not say out loud, but deep within, these are things that you know. You know that you're struggling with those things. So that's the first step, because the first step is first identifying that there is a problem. And once you identify, hey, there's a problem here, I need to be able to work through these problems. And the thing that we sometimes do as a community and as a people is we don't want to go and get the help that we need to get. And that is therapy. So for many years, our community had a very negative outlook and thought process about therapy, which continued a cycle of hurt and brokenness and disconnect. So here we are in 2024, and we're having conversations about, I have 8 kids, I have 12, 13 kids, and I have 4, 5, 6 baby mamas. This is where we are in 2024, having these types of conversations, because of the fact that something has happened for so long and we're not being honest with ourselves. We haven't been honest with ourselves. And on the flip side of this, people who are deciding to be healthy and whole and healed are actually being ridiculed and criticized for taking the route of a healed, positive path. And so we have to unlearn some things and learn some new things so that our relationships are thriving in a positive way, and that we're not tearing each other down in this community. I think ultimately everybody really wants the same thing, but we're not being honest with ourselves about ourselves first and foremost. Okay? So cousin's back.
I was
But
like,
it was like the perfect segue after what I just said.
okay.
So I don't know if you heard everything I said, by the way.
I hadn't heard nothing.
Okay. So
As soon as you started, everything was like,
yeah.
and what?
Yeah, and guess what? We're gonna still have this conversation no matter what's trying to interfere with us. That's how I know this is getting ready to be a bomb conversation, and it's gonna
Right.
reach the masses, because
Right.
that's the only time things like that happen. Okay?
Okay.
But to summarize what I just shared, was that the fact that, for so long we've done the same thing. We're in 2024 in our community, and now we're talking about men having 8 children by 3, 4, 5 baby mamas, 12, 13 kids by 4, 5, 6 baby mamas.
Right.
So I think that, over that time, and with our community not believing in therapy, our community calling men who are showing up for their families soft, or weak, or henpecked, and calling women who want to care for their husbands and take care of their families like, oh, you just want to be with the old style women. Women don't do that anymore. And instead of us critiquing and ridiculing the bad behaviors, right, the unhealthy behaviors, we have got to a point where we are criticizing and ridiculing people who want to be positive and healed.
Right.
And so, to just summarize what I just talked about, we have to unlearn to learn.
Right. Yes. So even me and Key was talking about this this week. Today, and she sent me that video of that interview, and it was really hard to watch. It was hard to watch because of the defense, like she said, the defense that he took on when she was, sharing some things. And so when you take offense, it's like, okay, so you have to ask yourself, okay, I'm taking like later, because in the midst of something, you don't realize, like, okay, let me sit back and realize, okay, I took offense to that. What was that about? Because sometimes that just means that it's a true statement there that might be like that's triggering to you. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like she said, unlearning, because we're talking about how Don said sounds like some jealousness on people like that. Explain further. But we have learned, like, so we're so far. So this is my take. We're so far away from our own culture, right? We're so far away from our own culture, and we don't have an identity. So we have ourselves wrapped up in the identity of our colonizers. The ones are, do you want to say colonizers?
Oppressors.
Oppressors. Thank you. Of our oppressors. And so we have our identity wrapped up in them and the way they do things. But we're not them. We're not them. And so we've lost our identity. We've lost that. And we've put this thing where you're supposed to be like this, and even people say, I want to make sure I'm not, because you know me, ADHD a little bit. But even people say, like, well, this is why we're like we are. Once you identify the issue, if you know that's the issue, you can no longer use that as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
People who are questioning your positivity or why you are not miserable like them. It could be some jealousy. It could definitely be some jealousy. It could definitely be some, I feel like in that interview, I don't know if it was jealousy or this
I think
arrogance.
he's talking about what I said
Oh,
in terms of people saying negative things about people being positive in their relationships and healthy in their relationships. Yeah.
okay. But even shoot, and it could be jealousy, right? But then, what did that one person say to you, Keya? Like, oh, y'all relationship too healthy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
And I
interesting.
don't think that she was jealous at
I'm
all.
jealous.
Like,
I'm
I
jealous.
think when she said to me, Keya, I think you and
It was
Marcus's relationship
it was
is too
different.
healthy. I really honestly didn't take it as jealousy at all. And I can feel jealousy. I'm telling you, I've had people say things to me and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
jealousy.
Hmm.
But when she said that, she
It
really
was the way
meant
of
it.
thinking.
It
Yes.
was her
A way
way of
of
thinking
thinking.
and her experiences.
So think about this. We are just okay. Here's the thing. Like I guess a couple of things. We are coming from allowing women to even have their own identities, right? And the concept that our value rested upon having a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we have that because even I go back to no pain, no gain. She said having a piece of man is better than having no man at all. So I'm just gonna take what I
Mm-hmm.
can get. That's not okay. But
Yep.
and, but then we also coming from this thing like to because even having a hood relationship, having this a hood relationship, what is it, hood
Ride or
love,
die.
ride or die, and so we're trying to create this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's unhealthy. It's all unhealthy. Um, it's all unhealthy,
Yeah. All
and
of it.
all of it's unhealthy.
Hey Floyd. Hey Tiffany on Instagram.
Hello,
Thanks you
hello,
guys for joining.
hello. Um, and so when she was saying, okay, because I jump around. So when we're talking about creating something healthy, and then we and then we attack each other so much,
Mm-hmm.
right? We attack each other instead of building each other up. We're sitting here criticizing each other about how we doing whatever we doing.
Yeah.
But what if that's how you identify how unhealthy you are,
Yep.
right? If my focus is so much on how they're moving, how they're doing things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not on, okay, but what am I doing to create a healthier situation, scenario, community, relationship
Mm-hmm.
here? How am I helping to help create a healthier relationship for myself?
Yeah.
No, and not allow, because we've all done it. We've all made choices in relationships because again, we found value that them liking us gave us more value.
Mm-hmm.
That's an issue. If you're not with me, does that mean I'm good? I'm not good enough? Does that mean you're not good enough if they're not with you? That does not mean that. So this is you working on you. So the women that allowed him to do this, because I think she's key. Because I couldn't watch it all, y'all. I couldn't watch. First of all, I can't sit still long enough sometimes. Number one. Number two, it was uncomfortable to. I was uncomfortable because of how he continued to try to. It was this thing, but you can tell how professional she was. She was able to catch him like being what is the word, not just redirecting, or she was able to catch him and point out some issues, but then she had
Mm-hmm.
to kind of coddle him too to make him feel better so he wouldn't have no little fit. He like
Well,
had a
she had
little
to do a lot of stroking. She had to do a
yeah,
lot of stroking.
yeah, to get her point across. and
Mm-hmm.
and and so because and so okay, I want to make sure I'm not doing this thing where I get upset, right? Like irritated, because it's like sometimes with a stroke a man's ego to, and
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's frustrating to do that. Be like, well, and I've done that. I've done that before. I've done that. And sometimes I'd be like, okay, I'm not doing this no more. I can't, like, I can't do this with you no more, you know? And so it's like, it's time for us to hold ourselves accountable. It's time to hold ourselves accountable for what we want to create, and
Yes.
not base it off of what society says we're supposed to do or how it's supposed to look. What if we create, but what's healthy for you? What's healthy for you? What's healthy in creating healthy value in yourself, and help, and like she said, high functioning for
Yeah.
your life.
Because we really want to share, like, a lot of things that we talk about, we want to also give you tools and equip you with tools to go beyond this conversation. We're not here so you can just look at us on the screen. We want you to walk away with some tools. That's why we have Shimeka, the therapist, on here. So that when you walk away, you don't just walk away with a podcast, with conversations. You're walking away with some tools that will take you on your journey. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, the bottom line and what we want to do is heal our community. And the only way that we can heal is first identifying there's a problem. There are too many people walking around that don't even see the problem. That's why you saw it in the conversation, right? I was like, Cam Newton and Nick Cannon both believed everything they said. There was no confusion about where they stood. Right. They saw everything that they did and everything that they had been doing, and even their future thoughts. As they didn't see that as problematic.
It's not a problem.
You don't see it's problematic to want to keep having babies and different baby mamas. You don't think that that's broken, that you have all of these baby mamas everywhere. And women, you don't think that it's broken behavior or low functioning behavior to hear a man tell you, I got 8 kids. And then you go and you get pregnant and be the 9th. And you have the 9th child.
That sounds
and whatever number baby mama.
Behavior. That sounds like low functioning behavior.
That is low functioning behavior.
That's low
so we have to start being honest with ourselves about our behavior. Are we judging you? Absolutely not. I have been a low functioning woman before. Man. I have definitely had low functioning moments.
Low functioning thoughts. I'll be like, oh wait, was that? Okay, so Marcus said our ego needs stroking, unfortunately. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So because of that, like, is that the only way you guys can receive? Is that the only way? Why do we have to stroke your ego? Like, why is that? Because then that would mean, again, you find value in, again, you don't see the value of yourself, but we have to give you value. So if I'm saying that to a woman, like, find value in yourself. What if I say that to a man? Find value in you. I got value. Mm-hmm. I got value. I'm valuable. I'm valuable. Then you won't have to. Then I won't have to stroke your ego, because you find value in you. And I could be wrong, because I could be wrong because I'm not a man. So I'm waiting for Marcus to respond.
But a lot of times, he types slow. So I think the other part is what I talked about a little earlier, which was the triggering part, right? Because all of us have triggers, men and women, right? Mm-hmm. And so for the men, it's ego. For the women, it's emotional. But I think what happens is, especially when you have 2 low functioning people, which I've been in a lot of relationships where both of us was low functioning. So neither one of us knew how to communicate effectively. Neither one of us knew how to come together to resolve issues in a healthy way. And so what we would do is, in our both low functioning trauma bonded selves, is attack one another, right? Yeah. And tear each other down and hit exactly where we knew each other's weak points were. Mm-hmm. And so when you repeat that cycle over and over and over, eventually somebody get tired of sparring. Okay. You coming on, babe?
Since I type slow, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So ego is just something, I don't know if it's something is innate in us. It's just something, it's like the equivalent of telling a woman she's pretty. Our ego is just how we driven. Maybe it's our machismo. It's part of maybe our testosterone. It's just that sometimes our ego just drives us, And if that ego, and it's like anything, it could be fragile. When we equate sometimes our ego to our manhood. Sometimes I think, because when you shatter our ego, you feel like you shattering part of our manhood.
And who taught you all that?
What told me was that was just it's innate. Part of it is either confidence or lack of confidence. We just this is how we hold on. This is coming back. It's just how it just I don't know if it's innate. I don't know how it was taught. Maybe it could be taught by example. So I can't necessarily pinpoint when the ego was developed.
Mm-hmm.
Developed, like I say, it might be just by example, by watching other males that we often emulate.
So, but and I have a question. What if we were taught at an early age to stroke our own egos, to have our own self confidence, to love ourselves so that nobody has to give us anything, that everything that someone else does to us is an addition? Because when we are seeking for somebody to feed our ego, stroke our ego, give us this, give us that, we will always be in lack. We will always be in lack because we're always seeking these outward things. And this is what I was talking about in the first part of the podcast. We are always seeking, and we've been taught to seek outward acceptance,
Yeah.
validation, this,
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
this is, I think when I say who taught you, it wasn't like an attack or anything like that on you, babe. It was a
No,
genuine
no.
question because I wonder if we begin, this is why I talked about unlearning and learning. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
if we began to unlearn, because when I started to unlearn that my value was tied to a man, I moved very differently.
Right.
My value is not tied to a man. Having a man loving me, liking me, wanting me. That's not where my value is tied. My value is tied to me, how I feel about me, how I love me, how I pour into me. And
Right.
so when we keep everything is outward,
Mm-hmm.
you will always be seeking
Seeking
someone to
out.
feed you.
Yes.
Someone
Um.
always has to, here's the spoon, open your mouth,
Right.
instead
You
of
feel
you
better.
doing that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
the
I hear you.
question.
I hear you. I know
Angel.
this is y'all segment. I'm about to bounce off, but I'm going to tell you this. I did not take it as an attack because I feel I'm very high functional at times. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
At times. Right. At times, me
You
too.
are, babe. You are. You are my high functioning fiance.
Fiance. Angel said, ego stroking is fine from time to time, but not constantly. To me, that means you feel you may need to be validated from others regularly as opposed to feeling adequate for yourself. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don says, I feel stroking my own ego is self confidence, not looking for validation. Yes, that's what we're
Mm-hmm.
saying. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
stroke your own ego. Like sometimes you gotta be like, hey, and then and
And
again, like, but then too, like, and again, identifying when identifying when it's not realistic too,
mm-hmm.
because a lot of men do this thing. Um, they do this thing where they're like, I'm, the bee's knees, right? I just said bee's knees because, I'm like, I'm the bee's knees. Okay, what makes you the bee's knees, sir? Right? Because I'm a man. Oh, okay. Well, are how? Tell me about your relationships prior, like you're with your children's mother, um, and they're like, well, we don't talk because she's on my nerves. And well, do you interact with your children? Well, no. Okay. Okay. So what healthy dynamics do you have in your life? Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
sleep with other women and you use. Oh. So are you genuinely happy? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Because it looks like because your lifestyle does not. Can you
Uh-oh.
hear me?
Where'd she go?
Oh, okay.
We can hear
Am
you.
I
We
back?
can't see you. We
Dang
don't
it.
see you, but
Okay.
we hear you.
Well, your life. Okay. Well, your lifestyle does not represent that. And so you have to identify, does my lifestyle represent how I genuinely feel about myself? And also people you date tend to be an outward representation. So if you have unhealthy relationships in your life, identify if that they're outward representation of how you really feel about yourself. When you always
Yeah.
complaining about women or when you always complaining about men, Are they
Yep.
an outward representation of how you really truly feel about yourself? Okay,
Oh,
I'm a
oh, that's
reload.
good.
I'm a
Go
reload.
out and come back in. Go out and come back
Or
in.
I'm back in. Okay.
Look, really just kind of segue into what I wanted to talk about next, which is the thing I'm always talking about, and that's journaling. You cannot identify what is going on with you and your relationships and internally what's happening with you if you're not journaling, because you're not going to be able to recall those things. And what she just touched on was the perfect segue into that, because this is where I want to talk to the women specifically. What she just talked about was questions that should be raised early on when you meet people. Oftentimes where women kind of drop the ball on their own foot is they do not ask the right questions. I did
Right.
this for many years. I went by what came out of their mouth, even though their actions showed something different.
Mm.
Bad mistake. Bad mistake. And I made that mistake quite a few times. So you have to early on engage and ask questions and then
Yes.
observe.
Yes.
Ask questions, then observe. They can't keep telling you the same thing over and over and over, and you keep being like, but they said, but they said, but they said, and this is how women play the victim later on. He hurt me. I had his baby and he won't take care of the baby. I did this, I did that, and he did this to her. We're taking accountability. We're not talking about what happened in the 70s that destroyed families, because we're aware of that. So we can't keep leaning on that. We have to now do the work to heal our communities. We have to do the work to put our families back together. We have to do the work of stop making positive, healthy relationships be the brunt of bad jokes and telling people that they're too healthy, telling people that that's just too positive of a relationship. We have to put it back together. This is why we talked about rebuilding the community. This means we don't need to keep yelling back and forth at each other. Well, you did this, and no, you did that, and no, you act like this, and no, you act like that. No, we need to sit and build together. We need to have honest, vulnerable conversations with one another. If you care about your community, if you care about your family, this is a necessity. This is a necessity. We can't keep doing the same thing and pointing the finger back to the same place over and over. I did the same thing, Keya. Lesson learned. Accountability is grown up type. Yes. Accountability is where it is. You have to hold yourself accountable. Turn your volume down, cousin. Can you say something?
Can you hear me, cousin?
Yeah, cut your volume down. We can hear the background.
I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear nothing you saying. I had to turn it up on here. I can't hear nothing.
Oh, that's why you have
My
the
internet
volume up.
my internet bars are full.
It's trying to mess with our message. We're going to still share this message. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you on here.
Oh,
I'm gonna go
boy.
back in and come back out.
Okay. Yeah, we still sharing this message because we talking about healing our community, and now the system wants to mess up. We still sharing this message. We still sharing this message. And so again, this is about rebuilding our community and having healthy dialogue, and stop pitting each other against each other, and stop finding fault in everybody else. Start to look at yourself. When you concentrate, I'm telling you, this was a game changer for me. When I started to just focus on myself. Okay, Keya, everybody else can have all the flaws and faults in the world. That is not where I need to concentrate my energy though. I need to focus and put my energy into myself. I attract who I am. I attract the things that I do. I attract people based on my trauma, my triggers, all of these things. So let me work on those things. Let me heal those things so I'm not attracting those types of things anymore. So that the more I put out positively because of the work that I'm doing internally, I'm going to attract more of that. And then I can stop saying, I keep meeting the wrong person. Everybody I meet is a dog. Everybody I meet is a lying, cheating. Nope. I'm going to just work on me so that I attract differently.
Right.
You sure right. This message will be delivered.
Right. This is so weird. So weird. And I'm at the
That's
office.
okay. We can hear you. So please share the next part of the conversation with us.
Girl, you can't see
We
me
can't
still.
see
I'm
you.
looking right at y'all. Wow. Okay.
We can't see you.
So, but like you said, that taking that inner healing, right? Taking care of, like, healing yourself, so that way what represents what you're showing will show up. What represents who you are internally will show up outwardly in a relationship. Because once you start loving you, it's too many things you're not gonna take. It's too many things you're gonna be like, nah, I'm good on that. I'm cool. And even just, I don't know if we went to when because I remember you mentioning too, kid, you was like, you know something isn't working. You know when something's not working. When you're not feeling happy, when you don't feel peace, you know, when you're not operating in your higher self. And so that's when you know something is not okay. You look at your relationships, look at your dynamics, look at how you're living your life. Are you happy? Are you genuinely happy? Not happy because you're like, oh, I want to let people know I'm happy and I'm smiling. I've been in a room full of people and felt lonely and alone because I was not internally happy. You know, I was just having this conversation with one of my clients too, and it was like, she was like, even though I'm smiling right now, I'm broken inside. Identify if you're broken inside, because that's what's gonna show up. You will show up broken, because a broken man gonna show up with you to you.
Yes. And if you're not, again, I'm gonna beat this over your head. If you're not journaling, you're not gonna be able to identify that. I don't care what you tell me. You can't identify it because your brain collects so many thoughts in a day. And once it goes through, it filters out, and now you have a whole new set of thoughts and ideas and feelings. You have to document it daily. This is how you can say, when you go back in a week, 2 weeks, and you begin to assess and analyze what you're writing, then you can take a serious analysis of what's happening around you. Is it me that's toxic? Is it me that's negative?
Right.
Is it me that's the bad person? But it's okay. I can repair these things. The wonderful thing about us as people, look, that's the therapist right there.
I'm back. Okay.
The wonderful thing, you're back. The wonderful thing about this therapist right here is, and the many other amazing therapists that are out there, is they are like doctors to your soul.
I love that.
If you go to the doctor for an annual checkup every year, you go to the dentist to deal with your teeth. You go to the eye doctor to deal with your eyesight. You go and you get these regular checkups, and you think your soul don't need a checkup?
Right.
I'm like, what? Your soul needs just as much as your physical, because if your soul ain't good, your physical will break down.
Yes.
I said what I said. Your soul is very closely tied to the physical. If your soul is broken, so then is your body. Different things in your body will break down.
Right.
This ain't for play.
Right.
And the reason why everybody's having this conversation and talking about the conversation with Cam Newton and Dr. Bryant and Nick Cannon and Dr. Bryant is because they see their trauma first row.
Man.
They saw their own trauma first
Yes.
row. That's why
Yep.
we're talking about it.
Yep.
Because at some point you were Cam Newton, or you were Dr. Bryant, or you knew a Nick Cannon. You was dating a Nick Cannon. You might be with a Nick Cannon right now. You might be with a Cam Newton right now. You
Right.
might be Cam Newton. You might be Nick Cannon. So we got to see first row us.
Yes. Yeah.
There were glimpses of us in
Yes.
those interviews.
Yes.
And where we need to start to do the work to heal our souls is going to change the way our community looks.
Yes.
That's why this is important.
Yeah. And the thing is that, and even looking at your, like she said, the community. Who is your community? Who's your community? Who's your support? Who is your support? So yes, get a therapist, and then build you a community, a support system that's going to love you, and then tell you when that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a good support system. Not somebody's gonna tear you down and make you feel like shit,
Yep.
but somebody's gonna build you up and help you see, like, okay, this behavior is not okay. It's not okay. You know? And so you have to make the decision for you. Nobody can make the decision for you. It's up to you to make that decision. You know, and the thing is that that's why we're here. It's like we're sharing that you have an opportunity to choose something different. Like, how amazing is that everything thus far you have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it hasn't worked, what if now is the time to choose something that works for you? Oh, learn to recognize that good support system. Yes. Yes, Marcus. Learn to recognize that good support system. The ones that build you up.
I want to add another way to identify if there are some things that you need to work through. This was a big one for me, so I'm going to share it with you all. If you keep repeating the same, like if you keep experiencing the same things over and over, like a woman dogging you out, a man dogging you out, people always lying to you, you always lying, you keep getting it, you're the person that everybody's like, it's always something going on with you. You the person who say, I always got bad luck. Listen, you low functioning. You low functioning.
Woe is me.
And that might, but I need for you to feel that way, because this is how we begin the journey of healing. Mm-hmm. This is how we begin the journey of therapy. This is how we begin the journey of identifying who should be and who shouldn't be continuing on this journey with you.
Yes.
There are people you still attached to that you don't have no business still being attached to. Friend, family, or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I said it. Because in order for you to get to where you need to get to be more productive, positive, and healthy in your community, you may have to let go of some things and some people.
Yep.
The first step of healing is actually releasing.
Right.
You got to release some things.
Mm-hmm.
Even your bullshit that you probably got 10 pounds sitting back that you need to release. You need to let all that go. All these old thoughts, all of these old ways, all of this, somebody told me this was the right way, all of that. You're going to have to start unlearning to learn the things that are the healthiest for you, that allow you to thrive.
Unlearning the way, and then here's the doormat. You know, like I had a conversation with my son, and I said, son, like, you have a gift, choose something different. He was like, well, I give my gifts to other people and I want them to thrive. Yeah, but you're not thriving. You're not thriving. So, and that's an unlearned that we have to do. Like, we have to be this doormat. Like, no, I have to be the martyr, or this whatever that thing is that we have been taught. You know, like, if we want more, then we're selfish, you know. And I was like, the thing is that you have to want more for you, so that way whatever you get, the gifts that you get will overflow, and then those that connected to you will be blessed by you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. So it's okay to say, like, I want best for me. It's okay to take care of me. I'm okay. It's okay to take care of me, because if I can take care of me, I can take care of you. I mean, I don't want to say take care of you, but I can be an example. Because when you said toxic support system, because one of the things is people that deplete you,
Yep.
because they're like, you got all the answers, or I want to get the answers from you. I don't have the answers. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the answers for you. You have the answers for you. You have to learn that for you. And so if I'm getting depleted all the time because you're pulling from me, that's not a reciprocal and healthy support system. It has to be reciprocated. Like, we're together. We are filling each other's cup.
Yeah.
I'm filling your cup, you're filling mine. I'm filling yours, you're filling mine. And when I leave
Yes.
the situation, when I leave the conversation, I feel good afterwards. I feel good. I feel full, and I feel good about me.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a toxic support system, is that you feel depleted. We talked about this before. You feel depleted, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel bad. You don't feel good after leaving that conversation. Like, something's off. Something's wrong every time you talk to that person. And then when they call you, like, whoa, it's too much. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
That's toxic. That's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for you.
And that's actually what I did in my journal. And that's how I knew how to detach from certain people
Mm-hmm.
and say, they're no longer a part of my journey. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I would go back and read it, and I'd be like, such and such call, and I dreaded answering the call, and I went and hung out with them, and it's just drum hum, like, and I kept reading the same things about people I was around.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay, so you have the ability to choose differently, Keya.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens every time we choose in a way that's not advantageous for us, that doesn't add value to our
Yeah.
lives, we
Yes.
end up complaining. We go from complaining to victim to
Yes.
angry, and
Yes.
we end up in this cycle.
Cycle.
And we're doing the same thing
Over
over
and
and
over.
over and over again, right? This is another sign that you need to do some work,
Yes.
because you keep, and this is similar to the last one. It's not the exact same, but because this is about cycles, you've programmed your life to be in these
Yes.
cycles.
Yes.
If there's not drama, it doesn't feel right for me. It doesn't feel safe because I'm used to drama, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like that cyclical stuff. If you keep finding yourself in the same types of cycles over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over, that's different from the one I shared before, because the one I shared before was you keep experiencing the same things because you keep doing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about a cycle that you've been taught, and
Mm.
you've embraced that cycle. And so you dizzy. Really, you dizzy. You just
Mm-hmm.
keep going in circles and circles and circles and circles and circles. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, I don't understand why I'm dizzy. Well, you're dizzy because you're doing this cyclical thing that you've been taught to
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
You don't even, it's cyclical is different because you don't even realize you're doing it.
Hmm.
You allowed somebody else to pour that into you. You
Yep.
took it, accepted it, and you just,
And you probably learned it from your family, because
you learned it from your
that's
family.
how you learn.
You learned it
Mm-hmm.
from your family.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the part of us. And sometimes I'm challenged by people who say, well, I mean, they're your family. They didn't do it to hurt you. That's not even what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the furthest thing from your family loves you. Most families love you. They care about you. Their intent is to pour into you and help you be the best that you can possibly be. And they're teaching you what was taught to them.
Yes.
That's
They're
it, right?
exactly. And
But
so
it's okay to admit it was wrong.
yeah, it's okay. It doesn't mean that you don't like them. It just
Yeah.
means that it was unhealthy. Like, and we've talked about this. If your parents, it was just unhealthy. It was just they knew what their limited information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but then when is it time to stop the cycle? When is it time to stop that family unhealthy dynamic? And you might be that cast out, the outside of the cast out, because they're trying to put you back into that system. So they're gonna keep, like, stop you. They're gonna try to stop you from doing something different, because they want to keep the system, because it's safe. They feel safe in that.
Yep.
And so if you're choosing to do something different, it will be it will be,
It's gonna be a
you will be,
challenge.
yes, thank you.
It's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a challenge. I know when I decided to be different, that I was attacked, I was ridiculed. There was a lot of jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
That has nothing to do with me though.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to understand that, this has nothing to do with you. That's more about how they feel about themselves, and that
Exactly.
they feel threatened by the fact that I didn't remove myself from the
Mm-hmm.
cycle. I
Yep.
don't want nothing to do with y'all cycle. Y'all can
Yep.
have that whole cycle. Y'all keep on going and being dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out.
And,
I'm done. I'm a
right.
two-piece. I'm a two-piece.
Right.
No. And again, it can be difficult. It can be a challenge. But we owe that to ourselves.
Yes.
I
We
can't
are
tell y'all
important.
enough. I can't even tell y'all enough how amazing it feels to be on the other side.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna keep it 100 with y'all. The brokenness,
Mm.
the toxicity, the trauma, the drama, all of that I had going on, and the peace that I have right now,
Mm.
there's no way I would go back to that.
Right.
Now, was it easy getting over to the other side? No, we're not going to tell you that lie. We've said
Right.
this before. We're not going to tell you that lie. It's difficult
Yeah.
because
And
the
you'll feel
people,
lonely for a minute.
you're
And
going to
you will
feel
feel
lonely.
lonely. Because
People
you're going to
going to
have,
make you an outcast.
yes. And you'll have family members that make a comment like, oh, because you're different now. And you don't have to be mad at that.
So don't.
Actually, that just signifies that there's some changing that you're doing. Like, dang, they noticed. They said it ugly, but thank you for noticing. What if he was like, thank you, I have, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to laugh at certain stuff. You have to, because you're not gonna make it if you don't laugh at yourself. You're not gonna make me laugh at yourself.
You're not going to make it if you don't laugh at yourself. So again, you all, we're going to share, 4 parts on this conversation. This was part 1, and we typically try to leave more time for questions. So if you guys have questions or comments, please share them now. We have 5 minutes left before we close out. And so we do want to address any questions or comments that people have about this particular topic. But remember, we got 3 more parts to go. So tonight, we really kind of wanted to focus on that term that she used. Shimeka loved that term. And we
Yes.
definitely had to talk about that, right? Because a lot of times
Yes.
the term we were using before was low
Low vibration.
vibration,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I
Low
think
functioning.
I think low functioning is where it's at.
Changes the game.
It
Because
changes the
then you be
game.
like, because when you say low function, you be like,
Yeah.
because low vibrational sounds so like, oh, I'm just low vibrational. I can bring it up. No, low functioning.
Yeah.
You need to change. There's some change that needs to be taking place.
Mm-hmm.
If you're functioning at a lower level, like if you're not thriving,
What's that comment up there say?
Marcus said we need an episode talking about when toxicity tries to make a comeback in your life. And then he said low vibrational and low functioning, the same thing.
No.
No, I don't think it is.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not the same
Mm-mm.
thing.
It's not the same thing. Low functioning means you're not thriving.
Mm-hmm.
It means you're not thriving. You're functioning at a lower level. Like your life is functioning at a lower level. Low vibration could mean like it could be like that could be just like a temporary thing. Like, oh, we're just
Yep.
having a low vibrational moment. No, low functioning means your whole system is low. Right, your whole system of functioning is you know
Yeah.
yeah. So that made that I was like, ooh, I like that word better. Low functioning. Because that, like you said, that whole, yeah, having 8 kids by that's low functioning and thinking
Yes.
it's okay. And thinking
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I just want to say, like, how glad I am to be in this time. And I'm going to say this because the reason why we're talking about these things we weren't talking about before. Things are changing. Things are changing. And we jumping right on it, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now's the time to change. Now's the time to choose to step outside of what the taught norm that we were taught that was low functioning for us. Now it's time to step outside of that and be you, and choose to be you. Like, this is the best time to do it. People are changing, thoughts, mindsets are changing. Like, this is an amazing time. This is an amazing time.
Mm-hmm.
I just
We get to
I just
witness
believe it to
it
be so.
and
Hmm.
experience it. And
Yeah.
let me add this because I love that, cousin. That was beautiful. And I'm glad that you shared that because we talked about that earlier. That was beautiful.
Hmm.
This is an amazing time, you guys. And it's such an amazing time that you all decided to sit here this evening
I know. Thank
and
you, God.
embrace this conversation, right?
Yes.
Sometimes these types of conversations can be difficult because you may find you in these conversations. The great thing about it is it's okay
It's okay.
because you get to grow. The one
Yeah.
amazing thing about life that nobody ever really kind of talks about is you always get to change.
You are,
You
girl.
always, that's dope to me.
Always. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait the next
That's
day.
dope.
You don't have to wait a whole year. You don't have to wait every New Year's to change. You can be like, you know what? I want to do something different in this moment. And guess what happens when you do that? When you decide that, first of all, you being on here means you're like, I want to choose something different.
Yep.
And I'm so give yourself a hand clap and a hug, because I'm so proud of you, and you should be so proud of you too, because you want to do something different.
Yep.
Because that's what we're here for. We're here to show you that you have another option available. How amazing is that? And you don't have to wait for tomorrow. You can do it
Dope.
right now. You can do it right now by just saying, listen, I don't want, you know what? This is no longer working for me. I want to choose something different.
Yep.
And once you do that, things start to shift and change immediately when you make that decision. Just make that decision. Just make that
Yes.
decision just in your head. It literally starts right here by making a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, because once you do that, then everything will start working towards that. Everything will start shifting and changing towards that. So start paying it. When you have that thought, start keeping your eyes open. Keep your eyes open, because something's gonna show up for that to help you along with that shift and that change. So
Cause you
yay!
got all the power, babies.
You
You got
got
all the
the
powers. Hey,
you got all.
hey, you gonna jump off the cycle like I did? You gonna jump off the
Jump
cycle?
out, jump out, jump out,
Hey,
jump out,
hey,
stay
hey.
out.
Look, you guys, this has been amazing. We've enjoyed
Yes.
you all. Listen, the nuggets were dropped. Shimeka came with it tonight. And I don't care how much the technical issues tried to sway this conversation and this message,
Just
the message got out there now. Okay, darlings. Um, so I'm hoping you can close us out because you froze up now.
I'm frozen up now.
Uh-huh. And
Can you hear me though?
I want you to close us out. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Just relax. We'll bend you, and breathe out all the stuff that you no longer serve, that no longer serves you. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself for wanting something different and wanting something better for you. Thank you for showing up for you. How does it get any better than this? And all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. What else is possible?
How does it get any better
How
than this, baby?
does it get any
I
better?
always got to put that on there.
How does it get any better
I
than
want
this?
that abundance.
What
How
else is
does
possible?
it get any better
Yes,
than
yes,
this?
Yes.
So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, my beautiful cousin, as always,
Yay.
for sharing your wisdom and your gift with us.
Mm.
And yes, honey. Mwah. And we look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks for part 2 of the 4 that we'll be sharing on how to build and rebuild our communities in love and wholeness and healing.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
y'all. Until next time.
Yay.
Peace.
Toodles, guys.
Eyes of mine, you see, there are no trees.